Why, hello, everybody, and welcome to the Truly Odd podcast, where we bring you the latest in game news and movie news. I'm your host, Joe Garcia, and forgive me for wearing orange. I look like a giant pumpkin, but fuck it, we're going with it. I don't care. Anyways, guys, all that being said, let's go ahead and grab our controllers, get our popcorn, and go ahead and dive right on into these topics, shall we? Starting with our game news topics of the day. And our first game news topic of the day is regarding Nintendo announces a second Kirby Air Riders direct ahead of the November launch. Let's go ahead and take a look here. It looks like it's a new trend what they're doing with their games, doing these 60 minutes directs directly for the games being released. The 60-minute Kirby Air Riders Direct 2 will stream on Thursday morning, October 23rd, hosted once again by director Masahiro Sakuria. I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. The first presentation revealed roster details, gameplay modes, and the November 20th release date, setting high expectations for the new insights. With much already unveiled, fans are eager to see what surprises remain as Nintendo gears up for the game's full release. Excuse me, guys. So yeah, I think it's interesting that they're doing this. I think they did the same thing with the Donkey Kong, and it was probably very successful. So I'm sure that they're experimenting with these almost marketing pushes. It really doesn't cost them too much to stream. You probably just have to pay some of the people filming it and stuff. So it's a cool marketing push, get people interested in what's going to be coming out and give your players more details as to what the game may be, because some players might be hesitant to buy it. So something like this definitely could push gamers and players over the edge to purchase the game. So I do think this is an interesting marketing ploy, and it seems to be working out for them. So expect other companies to follow suit if this continues to be successful for Nintendo. All right, guys, that being said, let's go ahead and move over to our next game news topic of the day. And our next game news topic of the day is regarding Konami's Silent Hill reveal pays off, as Okamoto, I think that's the director's name or one of the producers' name. Forgive me if I'm pronouncing that wrong. Explains multi-title strategy. So if you don't know this, back in 2002, um, the team for Silent Hill announced three different titles that they were making all at once, and it's kind of paid off over the years. Let's go ahead and take a look at this article from IGN. He's also being interviewed here if you're interested in hearing the producer's insight and stuff on the game and some of the interview questions that he was asked. It's 15 minutes. It'll be in the description down below if you guys are interested in taking a look at that. But producer Motoo Okamoto revealed that announcing multiple Silent Hill titles in 2002 was a deliberate move to show fans the company's serious intent to revive the series. The Silent Hill 2 remake was designed to appeal to both longtime fans and newcomers, reflecting on Konami's dual focus on legacy and growth. With over 3.5 million combined sales for Silent Hill 2 remake and Silent Hill F, the strong reviews across projects. Oh, and strong reviews across projects. Excuse me. Konami's gamble on simultaneous development appears to have paid off. Forgive me, guys. Dyslexia is kicking in there, but I do think it's interesting that this is one of the. It was a very big gamble for a series like this. Silent Hill hadn't been doing much for about a decade. It was just quiet. So for them to come out and announce 3 Silent Hill games all at once was a bit of a crazy thing for them to do. They announced Silent Hill 2 remake, Silent Hill F, and Silent Hill Townfall, which Townfall is still yet to come out, I believe. And so we have another game to look forward to in the Silent Hill franchise. But I do think it's interesting that they ended up doing this 3 games all at once development and releasing them the way that they have. It really invigorated the franchise and really brings it back. And also, not only did it invigorate the franchise for the gaming community, but it also did the same thing for other entertainment, as there's possibly a Silent Hill adaptation for another movie, possibly going to be coming out soon. So I think it's awesome that they did this, and it's one of the smarter things the company has done for the game industry, especially when we've been living in a year where not a lot of game companies have made a lot of intelligent decisions regarding layoffs and other crazy things that are going on. Anyways, guys, that being said, let me know what you guys think of the Silent Hill push. Did you guys enjoy the fact that they announced 3 games back in 2002, and has it paid off for you as fans of the series? Let me know. All right, guys, that being said, let's go ahead and move over to our next game news topic of the day. And our next game news topic of the day is regarding Arc Raiders devs call Marathon Playtest a great A/B test ahead of the October launch. If you don't know what an A/B test is, it's like almost a comparison test, I guess you could say. You know, whether you're talking web applications, whether you're talking mobile applications, but in this case, you're talking two different games. And it's an interesting comparison because they're both going to have playtests simultaneously around the same time. But let's go ahead and take a look here. So, Arc Raiders design director Virgil Watkins says the coinciding playtest with Bungie's Marathon offers a unique opportunity to compare players' feedback and design choices. Embark Studios extracts Embark Studios' extraction shooter hits nearly 190k concurrent players on Steam during the server slam, signaling strong interest ahead of its October 30th release. Bungie invited only Bungie's invite only technical test runs from October 22nd through the 28th, focusing on early gameplay improvements following the delay of its original September 2025 launch. So, the only difference really here is that it's an invite only tech test. So, it depends on how many players they invited to check out the Bungie game, but it is going to be interesting seeing as these two games kind of had betas damn near back to back to see which one is gonna guess quote unquote come out on top or turn out to be better. You know, now Marathon's art style is very interesting, and Bungie is a phenomenal studio. You know, they were the original Halo guys. They also did Destiny, which was fun when it initially came out. I mean, I think over time it kind of got stale. At least for me, it did. But they are still a good company, and they're definitely a company you want to look out for when they're developing a game. So I'm interested in seeing how Marathon turns out. Now I know it got knocked initially, that's why they kind of pushed it and made a lot of changes. So, but it looks like if they're going to try to compete with Arc Raiders, it might not turn out good for them, as Arc Raiders seems to be doing pretty successful in the market for this kind of game, is extraction shooter esque game. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Do you think it's a good A/B test comparison for Marathon and Arc Raiders, or do you think it's not really a fair comparison because it was only an invite-only tech test for Marathon? Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. All right, guys, that being said, let's go ahead and move over to our next game news topic. And our next game news topic of the day is regarding Xbox response to Rogue Ally X's $1,000 price tag, crediting Asus for marketing decisions, which I think is kind of interesting. Let's go ahead and take a look here. There's a full video here from IGN if you guys are interested in checking that out for yourself. But here's the product here. It looks pretty cool, but a lot of people initially thought this was an Xbox development, but it looks like it was more of an Asus development with an Xbox brand after what we heard here from the president of Xbox. Xbox president Sarah Bond clarifies that Asus, I hope I'm saying that right. Clarifies that Asus determined the Rogue Ally X's $1,000 price based on market insight and feature set, despite the device being Xbox branded. Bond reported overwhelming launch sales with a handheld selling the handheld selling out on Xbox stores and other retailers, suggesting price concerns didn't hinder early adoption. Excuse me. While Phil Spencer has expressed interest in first-party Xbox handheld, recent reports indicate the project may be on hold with no official update from Microsoft. So that's a rumor at the end there. So initially, my thought, and maybe I just assumed incorrectly, I thought this was a first party Xbox console, but they were bringing in Asus to assist with a lot of the hardware because they kind of do this tech. But it looks like this is an Asus product with an Xbox label and logo on it, because it makes no sense that Xbox wouldn't clarify and wouldn't make the decision on the pricing for this product. So the fact that the Xbox president came out and said Asus set the price point just lets you know that Xbox just slapped their logo on this product. At least that's how it come out to see. Now I know there's a lot more minutia and details behind it on the back end. I'm sure that there's licensing things. I'm sure Xbox and Microsoft had certain specs that needed to be met. I'm sure there were certain things that they needed to obtain to get get it approved for Xbox Game Pass and things like that. But it looks like this is more of an Asus product that was brought to Xbox and not the other way around, which I find very interesting. And I would love to see and know how the contracts worked out for this, because in this industry, entertainment, you don't get what you deserve, you get what you negotiate, and that's something we're going to talk about in the next area that we discuss. But so because you don't get what you deserve, you get what you negotiate. I'm curious why Xbox didn't negotiate decision on pricing. Now, unless they're talking about Asus coming in and recommending the price because of their market insight, then yeah, that makes sense. But if Asus set the market price, that's interesting, because that should have been an Xbox decision based off them having the majority logo and majority input into this device. But let me know what you guys think about this in the comment down below. Is it a bit confusing for you why Xbox didn't set the price themselves? Or do you think, like I do, where Asus just came at them with the price and they agreed with it? Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Alright guys, that being said, let's move over to our last game news topic of the day. And our last game news topic of the day is regarding Halo co-creator Marcus Lehto, however you pronounce that, slams EA for omitting Ridgeline devs from Battlefield 6's credits. Let's go ahead and take a look here. So, it looks like Battlefield 6 has been doing very phenomenal, but it looks like there is some back-end issues with some developers not getting credit for their work. Marcus Lehto criticized EA for failing to properly, excuse me guys, I'm gonna start over. Marcus Lehto criticized EA for failing to properly credit I literally had like the back of my throat just get fucked up right now. I feel like a moron. Anyways, Marcus Lehto criticized EA for failing to properly credit Ridgeline Games staff who worked on Battlefield 6, with many contributors listed only under special thanks and omitted entirely. Ridgeline Games was shut down by EA before the game's release, compounding the strain for developers who spent years on the project but weren't fully acknowledged. The situation reflects bordering stability in the gaming industry, with EA, Microsoft, and Tencent all encountering major layoffs in 2025, leaving many developers without leaving many developers without recognition and job security. Jesus, man, my dyslexia kicked in fucking hard right there, guys. I'm so sorry. Anyways, the issue here is people aren't being credited for the work that they have done on the Battlefield 6 game. And this is interesting. It again has to kind of go and coincide with what we discussed. Now, just because you work for a company doesn't mean you're necessarily going to get credited for the work that you do. There have been things that I've worked on that I don't get credited for, but I've worked on it, especially when it comes to the gaming industry. And I'm sure that this happens worldwide and industry wide, where people don't get credited for the work that they do. Now, mind you, if it's in your contract when you get signed on, then yes, you can do that. And yes, that is something you can negotiate. I'm sure most companies will be probably weirded out by you negotiating you're getting your credits, but that is possible to negotiate that as you get hired, especially if you know how to negotiate properly. But I do think it's interesting that they really let go of a team that was working hard on a Battlefield 6 game and kind of just left them in the wind, especially with credited things. Now, I understand not crediting Ridgeline Games themselves, as the studio got shut down, but getting the people that worked on it, at least get a list of who worked on it so you can credit them properly in their positions. I'm surprised that they didn't end up doing that. But, hopefully this can be updated. Credits can always come in with a patch or an update on the game, so hopefully if everyone here comes forward and people really want them to be credited, that is something that they can add to the game eventually. Who knows, it might have just been a mistake on some of the parts of the creditors. I've seen that happen before, where someone fails to get credited and then they update it later. It's something that ends up happening. But let me know what you guys think about this in the comments down below. Do you think it's cruel that EA forgot to credit the people that have been working on this game for years, or do you think it was just a simple mistake and easily fixed? Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Alright guys, And that does it for our game news topics of the day, guys. We're going to go ahead and move over to our movie news topics. And hopefully, my dyslexia doesn't kick in hard like that again, but we're going to find out together. Now, let's go ahead and take a look here. Starting with our first movie news topic. And our first movie news topic is we got our first look at I Play Rocky, revealing Anthony Ippolito. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, as young Stallone. Let's go ahead and take a look here. He got the classic Rocky workout gear, and we got the dog. I love the dog. So this is an awesome image. Excuse me. Studio. Excuse me. The studio released a photo. A photo. The studio released a photo of Anthony Apollo in classic Rocky gear, portraying Sylvester Stallone during the making of the original Rocky film. Jesus. Director Peter Farrelly, I Play Rocky tells the true story of Stallone's fight to star in his own script, which became 1976's box office and Oscar-winning phenomenon. With over 1.7 billion in global earnings, the Rocky franchise remains one of cinema's most iconic sports sagas, now revisited through Stallone's early struggles and triumphs. Now, this looks awesome. I'm actually excited for this movie because I love this story about how Sylvester Stallone brought the script and really didn't sell his script, or didn't really, how do I say this? He fought to star in the role, and he took a lot of cuts, whether it was money cuts or whatever he did, so he can star in this role. And it ended up being for the betterment for the betterment not only of the film but of his career, because it turned out to be one of the best decisions he's made, because it really jump started his career in Hollywood. And what a phenomenal story to tell. My issue with this movie, forgive me guys, I'm gonna clear my throat. However, my issue with this movie is that I don't think Sylvester Stallone is involved with this movie. And I have an issue with that. And the reason I have an issue with it is because Sylvester Stallone really, really worked hard on the Rocky franchise. He really, really worked hard on making sure he was the star of this film. So I'm curious how a studio can make a biopic about someone without having their input or really understand it. From my understanding, Stallone didn't even know this project was going on, and now he does. And how they didn't bring him in as an executive producer or get his input. Now, mind you, I understand people try to sway biopics to make people look better than they really did. Maybe Stallone was a bit of an asshole, who knows? But the point being, it's still his story. So I would have really liked for him to be involved in this project in some capacity, and the fact that he's not kind of bothers me in a bit of a way. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Is this a movie that excites you? Are you interested in seeing it? And does it weirded you out that Sylvester Stallone's not really involved in this making of this movie, even though it is his story? Let me know what you guys think. All right, guys, let's go ahead and move over to our next movie news topic of the day. And our next movie news topic of the day is regarding Mark Ruffalo is confirmed for Spider-Man Brand New Day, and set photos spark Hulk speculation. Let's go ahead and take a look here. So we recently got this set photo reveal of Mark Ruffalo. As you can see, he is beaten, bruised, and battered, which we will discuss after we discuss what's going on here in this image. A leaked set photo from Glasgow confirms Mark Ruffalo's involvement in Spider-Man Brand New Day, marking his first MCU appearance since She-Hulk. Speculation suggests Hulk may be a surprise antagonist, with rumors linking him to Peter Parker's family tragedy during the Battle of New York. Director Dustin Daniel Cretton, directed by Dustin Daniel Cretton, the film promises a more street-level narrative and features returning cast members Zendaya and Jacob Elordi, alongside new additions like Sadie Sink. So, the interesting thing here is we're seeing Bruce Banner, not Hulk, beaten, bruised, and battered, and I'm curious as to why. It seems like we might not be getting the Smart Hulk, as we're going to be getting Bruce Banner. Now, I'm curious because I don't recall ever seeing Hulk get beat up and Banner have the bruises, or Banner getting beat up and Hulk having the bruises, because I know Hulk has a bit of a healing factor. So I'm curious as to why we're getting a beat up Bruce Banner here now. Maybe he doesn't have control of the Hulk no more, and someone's trying to get it out of him by beating him. and that's why we see him beat. There's so many things that could be happening as to why we see Mark Ruffalo here all torn up. So I'm very curious what this movie's going to end up being, and curious what role he's going to play. As far as the rumor of him being an antagonist, that doesn't really make any sense unless the villain of the movie is able to make Hulk kind of Hulk out like they did in Avengers: Age of Ultron, which is something we've already seen and been through as far as when it comes to the Hulk. But I do think it would be an interesting way for the movie to kind of separate Hulk and Professor Hulk from Professor Hulk, if that makes sense. The mix of the two. I would really like for them to get separated, and if they incorporate that into this movie, that'd be very interesting. But let me know what you guys think about this in the comments down below. Why do you think Hulk is all, or Bruce Banner's all beat up and bruised up here in this image? And are you guys hoping that he does play a pivotal role as far as an antagonist for the movie? Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. All right, guys, let's go ahead and move over to our next movie news topic of the day. And our next movie news topic is about Warner Brothers Discovery launches strategic review amid buyout interests. So let's go ahead and take a look here at this article from Deadline regarding Warner Brothers Discovery. Warner Brothers Discovery confirms it has received unsolicited offers for both the full company and for Warner Brothers Discovery, prompting a formal review of strategic alternatives. The company plans to divide into two entries: Warner Brothers with streaming and studio, and Discovery Global with linear TV, but may consider alternative structures, including merging or spin offs. With Hollywood studios seldom up for sale, speculation swarms around potential suitors like Apple and Capcom, with Warner Brothers Discovery stock surging to 9% following the announcement. So there's been talk going back and forward with, Paramount Skydance looking to buy Warner Brothers Discovery, which of course got other suitors possibly interested with Capcom, possibly Apple, and some other studios. I don't think Disney's very interested because they just did their whole Fox merger and they're still trying to recover from that because that was a big buyout. So I'm very curious what other suitors would be interested in buying the studio. I think the best choice for this would be Apple, personally. Now, mind you, if you guys want to see the full statement that was released, it's right here in this article down below, Warner Brothers full statement. I'm not going to try to read it for you guys because we all know I suck at that. So, sorry guys, I just have to make myself laugh sometimes. Anyways, but I do think this is very interesting to see what's going to be happening with the studio. I think some of the bidders that we could be getting as far as Apple or Netflix would be the most interesting choices. Me personally, the reason I think Apple's the most interesting is because they're doing their own, studio, and they're starting it fresh. So for them to own something like Warner Brothers and have DC under their slate and stuff like that would really boost Apple TV Plus to a whole nother level. And they would probably have to get rid of HBO Max or merge it in as one streaming service, but I'm not sure how they would end up handling that. But I think Apple would possibly benefit the most from this merger. They can afford it, obviously. They're one of the richest companies in the world. Now, Capcom already has Universal, so they have their own thing going on. And Universal hasn't necessarily been doing the best as of late. They still got a lot of stuff to work on. Their horror stuff has been really, really boosting it with Blumhouse. But as far as other aspects of their studio, I don't think they've been doing too well, at least not from my current knowledge. But Apple is really focused on trying to make their TV products and their movies really top of the line. They got great shows. They're trying to really push through, and I think they could possibly turn, something like the DCU and other franchises that is under Warner Brothers into something really special. So I'm very curious how this is all going to turn out, and I'm going to be keeping a close eye on what's going to be going on with the possible sale of Warner Brothers Discovery. But let me know what you guys think about this in the comments down below. Who would you like to buy Warner Brothers? Would you prefer Apple, Capcom? Would you prefer Skydance to come in and get them along with Paramount? Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. All right, guys, let's go ahead and move over to our next movie news topic of the day. And our next movie news topic of the day is regarding Adam Driver reveals rejected Star Wars sequel pitch, The Hunt for Ben Solo. Now, I'm not sure if that's exactly what it was going to be called. I just thought it was funny because it kind of reminded me of The Hunt for Gollum. But let's go ahead and take a look at some of the details here. Adam Driver proposed a post-Rise of Skywalker film centering around Ben Solo with a script by Steven Soderbergh. Soderbergh that he called one of the best and coolest, one of the coolest he'd ever read. Sorry. While Lucasfilm supported the decision, sorry guys, while Lucasfilm supported the concept, Disney executive Bob Iger and Alan Bergman rejected it, citing disbelief in Ben Solo's survival. Despite the project's cancellation, Star Wars continued exploring with upcoming films like The Mandalorian and Grogu and Starfighter starring Ryan Gosling. So, the real reason, now I know it says here that they said, oh, Bob Iger and them said that they wouldn't believe Ben Solo survived. But the real reason is because The Rise of Skywalker got critically panned along with The Last Jedi. And they really, really hindered the franchise, so much so that we really haven't had a Star Wars film since then. Now, trying to think, did we have a Star Wars movie after The Rise of Skywalker? Let's see. Sorry, I know it's boring watching me type, guys, but I'm curious. So the last Star Wars movie released was Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker back in December of 2019. So yeah, that was the last one. We had Solo: A Star Wars Story in 2018, which didn't do very well. We had Rogue One back in 2016, which did okay, I believe, and then The Last Jedi and stuff like that. So yeah, we haven't had a Star Wars film in 6-7 years now. Are we getting Mandalorian Grogu next year? Yeah. So it's going to be 7 years. Yeah, so 27. It's going to be 7 years before we get a Star Wars film. And even then, the movie we're going to get, Mandalorian Grogu, is a spinoff of a TV show. So that's not necessarily a big Star Wars film. So let's say it's Starfighters. It's going to be 8 years before we get a legit first Star Wars film that has nothing to do with anything else prior. And even beyond that, we are not going to get a saga film for probably another 9 or 10 years because all the saga films are done. I don't even know if they're going to be continuing with the saga of the Skywalker saga, I guess, whatever saga you want to call it. But the main franchise of Star Wars, they're not going to be continuing with that, at least not anytime soon. So I do think it's very interesting of what's been going on with Star Wars. And I do think this movie could have worked, having a Ben Solo movie, him contemplating what he did with his father, and you could have said he survived. From my understanding, he died in the arms of Rey, but you could have done something where he survived. They fucking introduced force healing. I'm sure they could bring someone back to life in the franchise. I think force healing was the worst thing that could have come from Star Wars, because you look back at the movies, why didn't Obi-Wan heal Qui-Gon? Like, there's just so many questions. Maybe, he didn't know that force ability. Why didn't he know that force ability? It wasn't developed later. Why wasn't it developed till later? There's just so many freaking questions regarding Star Wars and why they did certain things. So it just didn't turn out very well. And I've been really falling off Star Wars, and that's really, really sad to say. And I think George Lucas needs to come back and reinvigorate this franchise, or they just need to scrap everything and start from scratch in episode one, A New Hope all over again. Just start all over and refresh it, and let's just go from there. And I know that's blasphemy, people to hear say, oh, remake Star Wars, but it's been long enough. I think a remake is up now. It's time to remake the movie and continue the franchise that way. You still have your originals. If they remake Back to the Future, I'd be upset too, but guess what? I still have my original Back to the Future film, so I do think anything can be remade. They remade Total Recall, but that didn't change the fact that the original with Arnold's better. They're remaking The Running Man, and hopefully that's great, but it's never going to change the fact that I have the original Running Man. That's how I feel about remakes. But let me know what you guys think about this in the comments down below. Would you have preferred to have seen The Hunt for Ben Solo, or a Ben Solo almost spin-off film? Would it interest you guys after The Rise of Skywalker, or do you prefer that they didn't do this because of everything going on with Star Wars currently as far as all the drama? Let me know what you guys think. Sorry guys, kind of went off on a ramble there. Anyways, moving on to our last movie news topic of the day. And our last movie news topic of the day is regarding California commits to $342 million in film tax credits, boosting Jumanji's G sequel and Heat 2. Let's go ahead and take a look here, guys. So finally, California is getting back into the damn film game with these tax credits. California's new film tax credit program now offers up to $48 million per project, with $342 million allocated to jumpstart major film shoots and concurrent with 29% drop in production jobs since 2022. The next Jumanji film received a record of 43.9 million, while Michael Mann's Heat 2 and the Daniels' upcoming Universal project also secured substantial funds. With production down in the UK, Canada, and California, itself, the state aims to reclaim the dominance amid rising competition from other U.S. states and internal marketers. Anyways, whatever. The point being is many studios have moved to what's that state where they were filming the MCU movies? Was it Georgia? Atlanta. A lot of these studios moved to Atlanta to redo studios and do a bunch of stuff over there because they were getting tax credits. A lot of shoots went out of California and into Canada because they would get tax credits. They moved a lot of their shoot over to London because they would get tax credits. All tax credits that helped the films move forward into production and cost the studios a lot less money. California was not competing because California felt like they didn't need to, because Hollywood is Tinseltown. Hollywood is known for films, and Hollywood's in California. Now, over the years, that has kind of dwindled for them and kind of fucked them over. Now, I'm not trying to get into politics or political, but it looks like finally, Gavin Newsom and the team in California are really doing something good to keep films here in California, because that's what's made this state so acclaimed and so popular and so great for a lot of people. So hopefully this tax credits help keep the film industry staying here in Hollywood and here in California, because California kind of needs that. It's one of their main businesses for many years, and the fact that they've lost it over the past couple years has been really hindering for a lot of the taxes and things going on here in California. So bringing films back here is very important, especially with movies like Heat 2 coming out, which was, I believe, set in Los Angeles. We kind of need tax credits to help films like this push things along. As far as Jumanji, I'm not sure how they're going to be doing that in California. I guess they're going to be doing stage productions. I'm not exactly sure. But it's really nice to see that films are beginning to get some tax credits, and I do think they have other listed projects here. Notable worthy featured film projects that were listed all allocated include: here are some Blumhouse films. Sunday from Blumhouse, $16 million. The Fifth Wheel on Netflix for $14.8 million. A Tree is Blue at $2.4 million. Untitled Family Drama, Warner Brothers for $39.6 million. Now, I'm curious what this is, because that's a big tax credit. So that's probably going to be a bigger movie than we think. I don't know how to pronounce that at $4.2 million. I'm not even going to attempt it. The Incredible Heist of Whatever the Hell for $1.8 million. And Night Watch with Mila Kunis for $3.3 million. These are just some of the movies that we've seen get credit, so that's awesome for them. So hopefully we continue to see something like this so we can keep movies here in Cali. But let me know what you guys think about this in the comments down below. Are you happy that we're going to be still getting films here in California, in the Hollywood area possibly? And do you think this is a good idea, or would you prefer them to have studios move elsewhere like they had been doing for the past couple years? Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. All right, guys, that's a wrap for today's episode of the Truly Odd Podcast. Thank you guys so much for joining me. If you like this episode, please like and subscribe. And always, guys, remember, stay true, be odd.